All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Movie Talks and Chill. We're your hosts. I'm Tony Serrato.
I'm Gavin Butts.
I'm Patrick Wall.
And this is the first episode.
We're back to our normal bullshit.
Yes. Back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes rabbity. There you go, little Eminem.
Yeah.
He can keep singing because there's no music behind it. It's just words.
And he got the lyrics wrong. So
I don't get the lyrics wrong.
You said, there goes gravity twice. He only says it once.
No.
Yes.
I didn't say it twice.
No, he said rabbit and then grab it.
Yeah. You just got to learn to listen.
Just grab
anyway,
it.
to this episode, we're back for
like I said, our normal bullshit.
And back to not listening.
So we, finished up all the episodes of Sunscreen, got them uploaded, so we took a little bit of a small hiatus. Well, these two did. I was editing stuff.
I was too.
You edited some stuff. Good for you.
You did a good
Dusted off the old cobwebs from my editing days.
Yes. And we have, a couple quick things. I think, tentatively, Doug will be joining us next week to kind of give a follow-up of the festival from his perspective. Unfortunately, because of his voice and being ill during the festival, he wasn't able to join us, and because he had to focus his talking on his actual thing to do with Sunscreen and talk
presenting awards, schmoozing,
real stuff. Not just join us. But again, it was a great time. Had a lot of fun, a lot of great interviews. So
thank you again to Sunscreen for inviting us out there.
Yes,
absolutely.
A couple other things and mind you, this is all just tentative because we still have some stuff to hash out. But we were invited to go to the other event that's going to be happening at the Sundial AMC.
Yeah,
Roger Deakins.
Yep.
He's a world-renowned cinematographer, and he's going to be doing. I believe it's a book signing. I think he wrote a book, and
I think it's a book signing. He's going to read an excerpt, something like that.
Yeah, but he's done. He was big with Coen Brothers, cinematographer. I know he did Fargo. I know he did The Big Lebowski. He did The Shawshank Redemption.
Was he the director of photography on those?
Cinematography, yeah.
Cinematography?
Yep. Well, basically.
Yeah.
But yes, no, so he is
and
his resume goes on and on and on.
I know you could be a cameraman on a crew and not be the director of cinematography, so I didn't know.
Well, you're not the director of cinematography. You're either a cinematographer or the director of photography.
Okay.
But it's basically, they're similar things. But yes, you can be a cameraman.
Yeah. And not be in charge.
Yeah. Most of the time, cinematographers, or a lot of the time, they're not really in front of the camera. They'll get in front of it for a second, then let the people know this is how I want it to look. But so he's going to be out at the Sundial AMC theaters doing that signing. It's going to be, I believe, the second weekend in June. It's like, I want to say, I'm not going to say the dates because I know I'm probably going to get them wrong, but we can look it up during the show and tell you before the end. We got that going on. Our 3-year anniversary is coming up in a couple months. We're already in June, so end of July. So we're almost done with 3 years.
That's insane.
If you can believe it.
Uno, dos, tres.
Yep. And what else? There was a couple other things. Oh, so there is going to be something. We're not going to give too much away just yet, but Movie Talks and Chill may be expanding into other things.
We're working on things.
Yes, we are
baby sister project.
Yeah, we are. The podcast will still run, but we're looking to make expansion. So we will keep you up to date as that happens in development. But before, without further ado, though, we will get to what this episode is about. And Gavin, you had the idea, so take it away.
So I thought that in honor of us finishing up our posting of interviews and everything. All the interviews that we did from Sunscreen Film Festival, we could talk about some movies that had some really great interviews in them, or some of them were essentially just an entire interview, from the start of it.
Like My Dinner with Andre.
Yep.
Exactly, or Big Trouble in Little China. Is all the way we've talked about that, that movie several times, but the whole movie is,
If we were ever to do a list, it would just be how many times did we talk about Big Trouble in Little China?
Yeah,
exactly.
The Jack Burton edition.
You leave Jack Burton alone. But that whole movie starts out as as he's recanting the story to I believe is his lawyer. Either his lawyer or I don't know if it's the DA.
The DA or something like that.
Okay, I think it's the DA. And that's how the movie starts. Is him recanting the story.
And then it ends that way too, because it goes right back to him and he's talking about when he's like believing in like this mystic stuff, and that's when Homeboy does the little electricity thing between his hands.
Yep, and that's how it starts. Very
I
small.
want to look this up, but I'm pretty sure the guy that was like recapping the adventure of Jack Burton and everything, that's the same guy who owned the convenience store in Tremors.
So that's like one of those, what do they call those? The fan theory is that, you know, when he leaves Jack Burton, he goes out on his quest around the country and ends up opening that convenience store there.
So it is the same guy.
No, it's not the same guy, but that's like the fan theory is that's who it is.
No, he's saying the same actor.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same actor that played him, but they're saying they're
so it is the same actor.
Yeah,
Okay.
It is the same actor.
Yep. Well, so I was going to ask too, does interrogations count? Because technically The Usual Suspects, the whole thing is, well, Kevin Spacey's character playing the behind, was it Verbal or Virgil or something?
Right. Yeah.
But he was really Kaiser Sose, but the whole thing was an interrogation. So would you count interrogation scenes
Absolutely.
as interviews? Because
Yeah.
it's technically
Absolutely.
an interview for your freedom or for your alibi.
Have I told you my German knock knock joke?
Oh God.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Who's in Pfeffer?
We will ask the questions. I'm supposed to slap the person, but I couldn't reach it.
I got a bet back.
I could have bit back.
Like, well, all right, go ahead. Because I would pay money to see that.
We will ask the questions. It's a little funny.
I get slapped in the face of your place. The water is free from now on.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say for me, obviously, because it has it in the title of the movie, and it's not the one you're thinking of immediately, is Interview with a Vampire, though. Mm-hmm. So that whole movie is an interview.
It is.
With a vampire, spoiler alert.
It's not just a catchy name.
Who kills Kristen Dunst?
The other vampires do.
Kirsten.
Yeah.
Kirsten. So what happens is, because they
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
she ended up killing, or attempted to kill, what's his name? And that was the rule against vampires. You don't kill your own.
They ended up killing Lestat, who was Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah.
But they thought they killed him.
Yeah. And so the thing is that, you know, that's their code, is you do not kill your own kind, you kill humans. And so they found that whole community of vampires later on, and there was that mother-like figure to her that really cared for her, but they found out about the little girl, and they put them in this big, like, well-looking thing, like rock, you know, formation thing that's covered, and basically they open it up so when the sun's coming through, it'll basically burn them alive or kill them. And remember, the whole scene is like, just the woman's like, you know, just don't look, and she's holding her.
Yeah.
And they basically then they turn to dust later on.
Way to bring that up, Patrick.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick.
It was a major plot point of the film.
That you didn't remember.
It's been like 20 years since I've seen that movie.
So don't bring it up.
Talk about me bringing up sad shit.
Yeah.
Look at you, damn it.
What I will say, even though the whole movie is there's only one scene of it with an interview, but I do love it, is the internship.
Yes.
Their interview in the internship.
But that interview is what sells them through and essentially the whole movie still technically is. Because they're in the internship and they're, you know, and their performance and everything, that they're going, like, they're trying to get that job. So.
Yeah. But the whole thing with them, and like talking when they give them that hypothetical question that you're supposed to know based on like physics and mathematics.
Right. So you're shrunk down to a size of like
a nickel or
something like
that. And he's
now
like,
you're in a blender.
Now you're in a blender. And he's like, oh, you know, we're gonna party. We throw some margaritas up in that thing. And he's like,
like,
yeah.
no, once the blender's on, it's on forever. Well. Now we sold blenders, and I'll tell you, even like the German model was like what ran like so many hours. No, this is a hypothetical blender. Yeah. It's never off. What do you do? Well, I mean, we're just going to start climbing out of that thing, right? Yeah. Now we're the size of nickels. We're saving lives. What?
What? And he's like, we're just out there. We're having a party. Get some margaritas. He's like, and we'll just spit in there. Great interview.
Yes.
Great interview. So I would count that.
Even at the end, like when he Vince Vaughn has that little moment with Chetty when he finally gets his pudding in the lunchroom, and he's like, we really came together as a team out there. It was a game involving balls, and you lost. It's like he He's so deadpan through the movie on his delivery to him. It's awesome.
I also love too what he's doing when he's the main guy. Because what was his name again? Chevy, right?
Chetty is the
Yeah, and he's has all the interns there, and he's asking them basically trying to get like the moral codes of Google. And he's like, let's say, raise your paddle. You got the green and red side for the paddles. He's like, let's say someone leaves something in the fridge. Do you take it home with you? And Vince Vaughn's like the only one throwing up the green. He's like, yes. Like, you want to take home? So he's like, well, if there's some,
it's like a perishable.
If it's like a perishable, it's like if there's some pudding in there. He's like, you want to take home pudding? I mean, or some pizza or something. Pizza and pudding. Is there anything else you want? He's like, well,
pizza, pudding, sushi, and
it's like 3 or 4 random things.
And he never leaves one out. Like when he's recanting.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's great about it. You want to take this home with you?
Again, let's try this again. Taking food home. From the office. No.
Well, there's a great interview or interrogation scene in a movie made famous by Sharon Stone's Downstairs, Basic Instinct.
You're not talking about the downstairs of her home, right?
No. Okay. The downstairs of her person, her vagina. Oh.
Or to be more appropriate, called the real.
I remember that, like, no one expected that scene to come up in that movie, so the moment it did, like, holy shit, I just saw Sharon Stone's vagina.
And probably the one scene that was, back in the day, the only thing that you would rewind and rewatch.
Well, I was going to say, every teenage boy learned how to appropriately rewind and pause at an exact second. Preciseness.
Yes, they did.
Every one of those boys should have gone to school for surgery after that, because they were so precise on nailing that moment.
All you TikTokers and Instagrams who like to play the pause game, there's a reason why us 30-year-olds are really good at it.
Well, I would also say, too, there's... what was the one I was thinking of? Well, you have the goofy ass movie with Seth Rogen and
This Is the End?
No, the interview.
The interview.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the one where they
go
try
over
and
interview
kill Jong-un.
Yeah, Kim Jong-un. Yep.
Which got banned and then released anyway.
Yeah.
North Korea was all like, we'll do something. And like, well, we don't want to piss off that guy, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we're like,
you know what? Fuck that guy.
Yeah. He's still trying to do shit, and we didn't even launch the movie.
Yeah.
You know what? Anyway.
He was like, if you do this, we will drop bombs on South Korea. Again. Okay, we won't do it. Okay. But we're still dropping the bomb.
We're still going to drop the bomb. Well, then we're still releasing the movie. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put it on a 50-foot Jumbotron across the DMZ so you can see it.
We can watch it during New Year.
Yeah.
as we celebrate the ceasefire.
Yeah.
Well, there's also one that I personally love. I doubt you've seen it because...
So roll the dice, man.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I would almost put money on this one that you haven't, but I think you've seen it because when I brought it up, when we talked about it, you said, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's Frost versus Nixon.
Heard of it.
Yep, I knew it. Man,
that is a movie.
Give him $100.
Ding, ding, ding.
He hasn't seen it, ladies and gentlemen. But no, that is a phenomenal movie. I believe that was Ron Howard who directed it, if I'm correct. If I'm not, please send us an email and correct me. But
correct Tony. That's always a fun conversation.
Yes. Hey, I accept corrections on this. That's why I always say, if I'm not 100%, I'm not 100% sure. That leaves it open. But I believe, but the whole thing is about the guy's last name is Frost. I can't remember because it's based off a true story. So it's after the Watergate thing, the whole Watergate incident with Nixon, and there's one journalist that's from overseas, and he's pretty well renowned, but he's on a lower end kind of show, and he wants to basically get Nixon on an interview, like a one-on-one, sit down, just two of them, but get him to basically fess up to the whole thing, like because he's already been denounced as president. He's already out of the office, so it's not going to matter at that point. He's already been once you get impeached.
But he resigned before he was impeached.
So, but once you resign, though, after that, they can't really put the charges on you if you even said that he knew about it or whatever. But he basically, the whole movie is him doing this interview, but all the other people that are involved in it like Nixon's press people and stuff, they're constantly, they give him very strict criteria and rules about what he can and can't ask, and that's what kind of pushes you. So Frost is over there figuring out ways to push the envelope throughout the whole interview, and he does basically get him in a roundabout way to give some kind of omission. Not full, but some kind. But it's a very, very good movie. Again, it's, for the most part, it's two people.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. It's a different woman, right?
Wait, who are we talking about?
Oh shit, we still talking about Monica? Damn.
So we call a callback.
So there was, I think it's called...
Let me tell you about these cigars I got.
So I think... I'm trying to look it up, but Ian McGregor was in a movie where he was ghostwriting a biography. I think it's called Ghostwriter, but I'm trying to find it. But basically, it's the whole movie of him talking with this guy, going about his life, figuring out how he's going to write this book, and the more he finds out that this guy's really fucked up. Like, maybe he should walk away from this project. But he's a ghostwriter, so this is his career, so it's kind of like, really don't want to be working with this psychopath. On the other hand, I like paying rent, so I'm going to keep you doing it.
I like paying rent, too.
Yeah, paying rent's just amazing. Until I actually pay it, and then I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
Well, there is one that I'm not sure if you guys have seen. It was kind of a little bit of an indie flick, and it was more of like a raunchy comedy, but it's called 21 and Over.
Yeah.
So, no interview actually happened, but essentially the storyline of it is they had to get this guy to, they're going to celebrate his 21st birthday, and he has an interview the following morning that his father has set up because he wants to become a doctor. So he's got an interview at this doctor's office the following morning, but it's kind of more like a hangover situation where they end up getting him super drunk. And, well, maybe a hangover meets Weekend at Bernie's, because he's kind of incapacitated through 90% of the movie. But the parts where he is coherent, he walks off and does stupid shit.
And the movie is called The Ghostwriter. Came out in 2010. Which is apparently 2 words. I thought Ghostwriter was 1 word. You live and learn.
Yeah, it's 1 word.
Everyone just got silent on it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Grammar's hard. Spelling is hard.
Oh, the old English.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I saw a little clip.
Unfortunately, the words that come out of my mouth don't have the Word document red squiggle underneath it.
1 month reminder, you failure.
I saw a clip of a comedian, and he's like, I think he was either Russian or Ukrainian, maybe, but he was like talking about learning English, and he's like, great, English is so fun. He says, you put ed on the past tense of every verb. Wanted. Or as a
Is this the same guy who has a 5-minute skit about the word shit?
no,
Okay.
different guy. He gets to what was it? Go. What the fuck? It's like the past tense of go is went. There's not a single letter in went that is in the word go. What are you doing to me?
Went.
Yeah.
I goaded it to the store.
Yeah, I goaded.
Well, so I got 2. One we could talk about real quick, but the other one I think would be a little more in depth because I know both of you. I hope to God you've seen this because it would be more up your alley. But the first one I'm going to talk about,
I've definitely seen Fern Gully, and I think that's what we can talk about.
No, we're not talking about Fern Gully.
Fuck.
21. Mm-hmm. Just 21.
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah, so that.
Oh, the one with Kevin Spacey?
Yeah, the whole beginning of the movie, or the whole very beginning and very end.
I've seen this movie.
Okay, so you've seen that one, but this isn't the one I was talking about.
Damn it.
The other one is you've almost definitely seen the other one. If you haven't, I want to. You owe me $100?
No.
Okay.
I get to slap you in the face.
So 21. He's interviewing for Harvard,
right?
Med school, or I believe it was med school
or math school or something like that.
Med school. He was in MIT, but he wanted to go. I believe he was trying to get into medical school. But so the whole beginning of the movie is him doing the interview there. And then at the end of the movie, basically the whole movie ends up being him explaining to this dean or whoever, that he's interviewing with about life experience, because the guy tells him at the beginning, he's like, oh, well, I did this at MIT, and, we're getting into, this competition that they were doing that him and his friends were, building those items for, and he's like, but then basically the interviewer says to him, he's like, but basically, he's like, he wants something that's going to wow him. Everybody's applying for Harvard obviously had those same credentials, the same GPAs and stuff. He's like, but he wants something like life experience or something that's going to wow him, or whatever term he uses. And so they play the movie, and then at the very end, he's, because he's narrating the whole movie for the most part.
And then he just sits back, and the guy's like jaw drops.
Yeah, he's like, so did I wow you? Or is that, how's that for experience or something? And then basically you find out that's the whole movie. But that is one with an interview.
Yeah.
And it is well done, and it does teach people how to count cards. So if anybody's interested in math, and just don't do it in Vegas, they do frown upon it.
Yeah. It's not illegal, but they don't give a shit.
They're not upset. They're just
violently
gonna rip your arm.
You're not going to go to jail, but you may end up in a basement somewhere.
Yeah.
Or in some back room behind the kitchen.
So
that's very well noise controlled.
I've recently seen this movie called The Cooler, and there's a scene where they drag William H. Macy's kid down to a basement, and then they start roughing him up. He's like, no, you saved your son's life, but a couple of bruises ain't gonna hurt him. So he takes a lead pipe and breaks his arm and crotch.
Yep.
And then Alec Baldwin knees the quote-unquote pregnant girl in the stomach, and you find out it's just a pillow that they could use to steal money with. Like, I generally thought she was pregnant.
Well, that's the funny part about that scene is that everyone there except Alec Baldwin thought that there was a baby in there.
Yeah.
Even his guys are like, "What the hell, dude?" And then he pulls the pillow out, and they're like, gotcha.
That's why I am who I am, and you are who you are.
I mean, I saw that scene before we turned on the mics because Tony was watching it.
Yes. Always interesting. I like to keep you guys on your toes, show you new stuff. The other one I was going to talk about, so it's not really full on an interrogation, but it is I can't remember the term. What is it when you're going in a deposition, I believe it's called, when you're giving your story to the lawyer, so basically they can get all the information to bring to actual trial or try to settle outside. So the network.
Yes.
Or social network.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
You really haven't seen the movie about Facebook?
Yeah, I know of the movie.
As a person who loves social media, I figured you would have been all over that.
Look
I really wish I would have accepted your $100 offer.
I didn't
That's
even offer that.
That's why you didn't bet.
That's why I didn't bet.
That movie.
I really could have sworn you would have. I would have pegged you to have seen that over 21.
No, I had no interest in seeing The Social Network. Zero.
Does he have to get pegged now?
No.
Not by us.
But the whole movie is basically just a deposition and interviews, back and forth between all the parties involved, the Winklevosses and his friend Eduardo, and basically and him. But that is the whole movie, is going back and forth and doing depositions. So it's kind of like an interview.
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street had a good section about that in there when there was no, I don't recall that. Nope, I don't recall that. It's when they're first getting indicted and they bring in like the higher ranking officials of the firm, and the one guy is like, it's like, so on January such and such you were blah 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 blah. I was like, and he's just eating donut, like constantly eating donuts. He's like, so you agree? It's like, no, I don't recall that. No.
Well, I did like, though, in Social Network, when he's talking, there was that one scene. I mean, he's very, basically just very rude to people. Mark Zuckerberg in the movie. I don't know if that's his actual portrayal or not, or if it was loosely based.
He was definitely no Tom.
No. But there's that one scene, because the whole movie is like him basically having to go back and forth with everybody and explain himself and try to. And there's one scene where he looks out. He's just staring out the window. The other lawyer's talking to him. He's like, Mr. Zuckerberg, and he's like, do I have your attention? Like, what? He's like, it's raining. He's like, do I have your attention? Do I have your full attention? He's like, looks over at him. He's like, right now there's people over at Facebook doing things that nobody's ever seen before, things that nobody else can do. And he's like, that's what I'm focused on. So, no, you don't have my full attention. You have the bare minimum.
Another good movie with a bunch of interviews in it is This Is the End. because they were doing self-interviews, talking to the camera to keep.
But yeah, they were doing
sane.
like the
testimonials,
real world,
like the
testimonials.
I hate those things. I can't stand
So
testimonials.
Hermione stole all our shit.
There's one where he's talking about James Franco, and he's like, "Everything good?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I fucking hate that guy.
James Franco is talking about Danny McBride.
Oh, okay.
And Danny McBride's the one he's standing in the hallway. He's like, he keeps looking back to see if he's there. He's like, fucking hate that guy.
And if we're counting interrogations, even though there's not a whole lot said, but Payback has a really good interrogation scene at the end, where Mel Gibson is tied to the chair, and he's like, "Here's your 140 grand." He's like, "I've been telling you this whole fucking time, it's 70 grand. I only need half of that." And he's like, "This is as close as you're gonna get to it." And they start ripping out fingernails.
Nice.
Yeah, and then he says he gives him like the address to his safe house, which he knows has been rigged by like the mob or whoever these guys are. So he uses a knife to cut through the back seat because he's in the trunk, and he uses the car phone, which is a rotary dial car phone, to call the apartment. Yep. And then the mob boss answered it. He's like, "Where's the money?" And then he hears a click because all the TNT underneath the bed just detonates.
I like it when TNT detonates.
Death.
Boom.
And an interrogation scene with even less talking is in Lethal Weapon, the first one, where Martin Riggs is just screaming and the guy has a car battery to a sponge and he just keeps touching him.
Mel Gibson does get tortured a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does.
Although and you probably haven't seen Dragnet either, but
Seen the show.
yeah, okay. So anyway, in the movie,
Oh, the one with Tom Hanks.
yeah,
Yeah, all right, I've seen
Dan
it.
Aykroyd. Wow. So I was just thinking when you said interrogations or like threatening interrogations, when Tom Hanks' character Strebeck.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets the one guy, Emil Muzz, in there, and then Dana, he's like, "You want some?" He's like, "Friday, you want some coffee?" He's like, "Yeah, I can use some coffee." And he's like, "Well," he's like, "looks like it's just you, me, this drawer, and your balls." And it just cuts to the outside. It's like you just hear, "Bam!" Oh!
Well, I mean, you could probably do that from any police movie, because there's always got to be like, I think 90% of police movies have that one interrogation scene.
Yeah. Good cop, bad cop.
Right. That Pink Panther, where he comes in there and Inspector Clouseau is like he's doing both good cop and bad cop. And Ponton is, usually two different cops do that. And he's like, whatever. And he walks in with the battery. He's like, "You know what we do to prisoners that do not talk? We'll hook them up to the box." What is the box? Idiot. I take one electrode, I place the ear, I take the other electrode, and use the ear. Ah! He comes out, his crotch is smoking. Or in, what was Blue Streak?
Okay,
When Martin Lawrence goes back in, and Dave Chappelle is like his partner, or was his driver before, and he finds him, and he ends up having to arrest him because he knocked over the convenience store, and he's got him in the interrogation room. He says, "I have information on another crime." He says, "What can you tell me about this Logan guy?" "All I can say is that he's gay." he tries to get him to out himself, or no, wait, he's the first part of the interrogation, like he's got him behind the door, and he's holding the door on him, but he's hitting the door.
He's punching the door.
It's like he didn't punch him directly; he just punched the door.
I can't help what the door does to him.
Yeah, right.
His face is too close to the door.
And then this guy comes in and goes, "Next time use a phone book."
Doesn't leave a mark. I learned that from Trailer Park Boys.
Yep.
Well, another one you could think of that would be considered more of an interview movie. I mean, it is kind of like an interrogation, but it is more of an interview, is Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
Because the whole thing is her trying to get information from him or interview him to find out what he knows about, Buffalo Bill, and basically trying to, what's that term they use, the FBI, when they're...
Profiling.
Yeah, profiling.
Yeah.
They're trying to
Set up
profile
profile.
him. Yeah. So, but that whole movie, I mean, that is solid.
Yeah. Oh crap! What's that really famous A Few Good Men. So when Tom Cruise is interviewing Jack Nicholson on the stand, that everybody still knows that line, even if you've never seen the movie. "You can't handle the truth."
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Are you telling the truth? You can't handle the
You can't handle.
Did you? What did he say? Did you order that? Did you order that? I can't remember. Was it
Code Red.
Code Red. He's like, you ordered. You goddamn right I did. That's when he just snaps, and that's when he goes on his rant where that other line comes out too. He's like, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
There's a line towards the end of his psychotic rant, but TNT has to edit it, and he's like, I'm going to rip off your head and puke down your dead skull. And it's clearly not Jack Nicholson, and it's clearly dubbed over what he's actually saying, and I cannot remember what he actually says. But the dubbing on TNT was done very poorly. Like most R-rated movies that are put on TNT or TBS, the edits are the funniest part.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, also don't forget early 2000s interview movie.
I don't know how the hell I can forget the early 2000s.
Almost Famous.
Yes.
His whole job was to go around with the band to basically
to get that interview.
To get the full interview with him.
And finally at the very end he gets the lead guitarist to say yes and corroborate the full story.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never seen Almost Famous, but I've seen Almost Heroes, and that's a wildly different movie.
Yes.
Very funny with Matthew Perry and Chris Farley.
What, have you not seen Saving Private Ryan, but seen Saving Ryan's Privates?
Yeah.
I've only seen one of those.
The Pornhub version.
I don't know, let you guys figure out which one.
We already knew.
Fun fact, Matt Damon's in both movies.
Matt Damon.
He wasn't going to let some... B porn actor. He was like, no, I got this. I'm not going to deliver that Oscar quality.
Step aside. I just got done filming Euro Trip.
Yeah.
I'm on tour for Scotty Doesn't Know.
He had a shaved head. I barely recognized him in that movie.
I know.
When he came up on stage, and everybody, me and my friends were like, is that? No, that can't be.
Yeah.
No, that's Matt Damon.
Freaking Matt Damon.
The drummer was Ben Affleck, right?
Shut up.
No, I'm joking.
Okay.
I don't know.
I would go home right now. I would leave this podcast after 30 minutes, go home and rewatch that movie.
Patrick will text us like 20 minutes later. Liar!
You son of a bitch!
You probably just pull the scene up right here.
Yeah, I probably could.
Why would you need to go watch the whole movie?
Well, I have a 45-inch TV at home. It's just nicer.
Okay. All right.
So get the YouTube clip.
Just to confirm one scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, it's a really fun movie.
It's Patrick.
I stopped questioning things after this point. So, the Zodiac.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome back to our normal episode. This is why we do the film festival and other interviews, so that we have real conversation.
We have full participation.
What I would like to point out to the listeners is that we edit this, so if you're hearing this is something Tony decided that you needed to hear about me.
I don't edit anything. I just clear up the sound a little bit. I don't take anything out. This is gold, Jerry.
Right. This is gold, Jerry. Yeah, we don't take any of this part out. But no, that's. That was a star-studded cast too. You had Jake Gyllenhaal before he was getting big.
Robert Downey Jr.
was starting to make his comeback.
Yep. Yeah, because it was early. It was early 2000s.
It was before right before
Iron Man. Right?
Iron Man was in 2006, right?
8.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
6, 8, 9.
He was starting to make his comeback.
Yep. But so for the Zodiac was about the Zodiac
killer. Yes, the serial killer in New York.
Yes.
I know about
California.
California. Right. Who am I thinking of?
Wasn't it California?
No, I think it was New York. The guy who kept writing into the newspaper with all the
I think it was New York.
It might. Yeah, you might be right on that. Who was I thinking of in California? There was a serial
Summer
killer.
of Sam.
Yeah, Summer of Sam was out there.
So I was thinking of that one then. It's like California. We already knew California was weird enough.
Summer Sam, Ted Bundy, they're all out in
Summer
California.
Sam he was the one getting his information from his dog.
Yeah, I remember. No, I remember that one. No, I knew the name. I just got the locations of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You ever seen the Robot Chicken sketch of that? Little girl goes up to her mom and says, "Mommy, dog backward is God." She's like, "Oh, that's nice, sweetie." She goes up to the dog. "Did you know your name is God spelled backwards?" She's like, "Kill your family, Susie." Okay.
Well, from that also, I still love the Bop It episode.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, bop it, pull it, twist it, extend it. it, load it, read it. And he's like, he's on a cliff and he's like got the gun down. He's like, do it. Do it.
And cop bumps in. He's like, put down the gun. He's like, end it.
Yeah. And he tries to kill it. Then they're in the court. He's like, zip it.
But that's so when you get to the like serial killer stuff. The reason why I brought that up is there's been maybe not mainstream. Like Zodiac was more mainstream film.
Yeah.
But they have done those like independent films, or like Netflix has done them. Some other streaming services done them. Ted Bundy, Ed Gein. I'm not talking about the Dahmer series. 'Cause that was more of like a show.
Right.
Whereas like there's actual ones where they've taken the real audio.
Right.
Like I think it's like called like The Last Days Before. It's basically like their last days before death row. There's a whole bunch of them. There's people that a lot of people haven't even never really heard of, or at least maybe newer generation. They're older people out there, old serial killers that were you actually listen to their real tapes of being interviewed, like in jail on death row.
Yeah,
and you get to hear the psychoticness. They know they're going to die, and they're already crazy to begin with. So,
right.
There's a great show on Netflix called Mindhunters about like the start of profiling serial killers.
Yeah,
they go around.
It's like in the 70s, right? Or
the
60s.
It's something like that. It's very like that
it's
era.
Very early on, yeah.
And they're just going around talking to all these psychopaths, and they find one who's like, I'll tell you everything. Like, this is why I wanted to do it. This is what I felt like. And, let's talk about my mother. Sure, why not? But when the one FBI agent says, hey, let's go talk to these psychos and see what makes them tick, his partner's like, the only thing that guy's going to do is rip off your head and use the hole as a sex toy.
Okay.
Well, I guess when you gotta go, you gotta go. Holy shit.
There is one scene in the movie. It's not a serial killer one, but there is a scene in a really, really well done movie that has an interview, and the interview is what's really great about it, only because the main character in it who's being interviewed has a lot of unique questions for it, and that would be the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
When he first loses his main, his big job that he met, Matthew McConaughey, and he first starts selling the penny stocks, and he goes and interviews with the guy, and he's talking to him about it. He's like, it's just, small things, probably not going to go anywhere. He's like, but, what's your commission on it?
50%.
Yeah, 50. He's like, wait. So
on the pink sheets.
Yeah, on the pink sheets. He's like, so you're telling me if I sell what does he say, 5,000 shares?
Yeah,
my shares
of
like
airtime.
$2,500. He's like,
if you sell that much, I will pay it to you directly.
No, he says, if you sell that much, I will personally give you a blowjob. And he's like, and I hope it happens.
And then his first call, he sells 3,000 shares.
Because he's then developed, that whole mindset of like how to write the script and talking to cold calling people. But just that interview alone was just a really good scene in there. The other really good scene I love when he first meets up with Jonah Hill's character, and he's in that diner, and he's like, "What do you do?" And he's like, I do this, and he's like, "How much you make a week?" And he told him, and he's like, "You show me a paycheck right now that says you make this." And he's like, "I quit my job and come work for you." And he's like, he pulls out the envelope, and it just cuts to him. He's like, "Hey,
no, everything's fine. I quit.
It was like his cousin, or it was his uncle or something. It's like a family business.
I think it's like a furniture business.
Yeah, but it was like someone I think in his family. He's like, "Yeah, Uncle so everything's. I quit."
There's another movie with Tim Roth that's just a series of interviews from different. Well, there's one room that isn't a series of interviews, but 4 rooms. Yeah. So the first one, he gets interviewed by the witches to make sure that he's able to complete the ritual. The second one, the husband literally ties him to a chair and interrogates him. Like, you sleep with my wife? And he's got this like big 350 Magnum gun just like waving around in his face. The wife's tied up right next to him. And then she shows up in the final scene where it's Quentin Tarantino interviewing him, describing like, this is what we need you to do. We want you to cut off my best friend's pinky.
But the scene with the husband and wife when he gets caught there, it's great. He's like, because he doesn't know what the hell is going on. Tim Roth's character is just he just came to the room, but the husband assumes she's the one the wife's cheating with, and she goes with it. And she's like, "Oh, come on, Teddy, don't hide it." She's like, "You just," she says something to the husband along the fact that she's like, you just can't compare to Teddy's huge cock. And then he's just shaking. He's like, "He's got a huge cock." He's like, "Shh." show it to me. And he's like, it's really not that big.
I'm trying to remember the name of that actor. He's
been
quite famous.
I think he was wasn't it the same guy that was the father in Clueless? Maybe. I could be wrong about that.
No, I think you're right.
But while you look up that, let's talk about
David Preval.
Who?
David Preval.
That might not be who I'm thinking of then. Let's talk about a really good interview.
He was in The Phantom? I love that movie.
One of the greatest interviews, actually. This is the best interview, I think. Office Space.
Oh, God, yes.
When he meets with the Bobs.
God,
I mean, every interview they do, he's like, all you're doing is you're interviewing for your own job.
Yeah.
What would you say you do here?
So you take the specs from the... Well,
My
sometimes.
assistant
Or
does.
so you must hand the specs to the engineer. Well, sometimes, but... or the facts. Or I email them. Look, I deal with the customers so the engineers don't have to. I'm a people person.
So why couldn't the customers just talk to you? Because they don't have people skills. I have people skills, damn it. What is wrong with you people? And of course, I mean, well, Michael Bolton? He's like, what's your favorite song? And he's like, yeah, I guess I kind of like them all. He's like, damn it, too. He's like, I too. He's like, I am a Michael Bolton fan. He's like, I've celebrated the guy's entire collection. He's like, but you must love him even more since you share the same name.
You know what? You could just call me Mike.
And then they just get real straight
Yeah, the demeanor changes.
But Peter's interview is the best.
So, Pete, looks like you've been missing a lot of work here. I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
Listen, it's more of a lack of motivation. If I get a few more things out, Initech sees a couple more bucks, I don't see a dime. He's like, so what's the real motivation? He's like, just work hard enough just not to get fired. Yep. Do the bare minimum enough just not to get fired. He's like, so
the initial quiet quitter.
Like, so, and I'm just throwing this out, completely hypothetical. Yeah. What if we were to offer you a stock option, maybe something? And I don't know, maybe. He's like,
but I gotta go, guys.
Yeah. Good luck with your fire.
Yeah, your fires go really well.
And then he comes back, and when they come back to him, and he's like, you guys are going to fire Samir and Michael, and you're going to pay me more money?
Like, yeah, that's the gist of it.
No, well, it's first off, you gotta get Samir right. You got Samir not gonna be working here anymore.
Can you pronounce Samir's last name?
Nainanajad. Nainanajad.
Why is it so hard to pronounce my name?
It's so simple.
Nainanajad. At least your name isn't Michael Bolton. There's nothing wrong with that name. There was nothing wrong with it until about 9th grade, and that No Talent Ass Clown started winning Grammys. But why don't you just go by Mike or something? No, I shouldn't change. He sucks.
He sucks.
I'd never really listened to Michael Bolton's music, and then he was on a Lonely Island song, and I was like, my God, this guy's good.
Well, he was also in the end of Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Yeah, that's right.
Incredible thoughts.
That's kind of like another interview, isn't it?
What's that?
Because that's him doing like
on
his.
Yeah, it's more like a VH1 type style, type thing.
Like all the actual Grammy winner artists that he had in that movie were talking to the cameras, especially after like "Don't Be Afraid to Be Gay" song. He's like,
I'm not gay.
Yeah, I'm not gay, or legalize it or something. He's like, it's already legal. Why are we doing this song? He's like, for the people.
That about gay marriage.
Yeah,
it's like it's already okay to do that.
We got to make it legal, man.
Yo, guys, what's up?
Not gay.
It's kind of for real. I'm here to tell you about, we're surprise dropping our new show tomorrow at 1 p.m. So surprise dropping. Just don't miss out.
That movie's hilarious.
So one that we haven't talked about yet, but I think we've touched on several shows back, or in several shows, is Forrest Gump.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the whole first 45 minutes of it is him providing an interview to several different people on that park bench
that no one asked for.
Yeah,
they just happened to sit down next to this chatty Cathy.
But everybody knows that life is like a box of chocolates.
Yep. You never know what you're going to get,
which
is bullshit because the diagram is on the bottom of the box, and you know exactly where everything is.
And that Jenny is the worst villain in any movie ever.
Oh yeah,
I stand by that today.
100%.
Still not over Heartbreak, are you?
That bitch.
I'm agreeing with Gavin. Jenny's.
All I've got to say is, if I get a debilitating disease, I'm not dumping some kid off on the wife's doorstep that she didn't know that ever had because she had it. But anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Your logic is falling apart real quick on this
right?
one.
And that house of cards.
Welcome to Gavin and Patrick's Jaded Talk. Heartbreak Hotel.
Not bitter.
We said we were going to do it. New shows on the side.
Yeah.
Patrick and Gavin Talk. Jaded Talk.
I would say we should crack open beer, but if we're going to talk this, let's bust out the vodka.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be some shots.
I'm Gavin. I'm heartbroken. I'm Patrick, and I'm bitter. Welcome to Jaded.
And this is Jaded.
What are we talking about today?
Fades to gray.
What are we talking about today? Who gives a shit?
Who cares?
I'll tell you what we're not talking about. We're not talking about that date I didn't have last night. That's what we're going to not talk about. Because the bitch took me on. And you know what? Man, you know how hard it is to get reservations at the place? Let me tell you what.
We talked about it before. Well, let's go over ghosting.
Oh, I would love to see this show you guys do. I would sit back and just eat popcorn. Man, those guys are...
You could be our producer.
Oh, these guys suck.
What a couple of losers.
Oh my god! You'd be like an MXC Mystery Science Theater 8000. You'd be the only one out there just eating popcorn. It's just your silhouette with us on the TV.
Oh no! If it was something like that, I guarantee you, Patty would join me.
Oh yeah,
Steve.
I think Heather Dunmeyer might even take time
Probably,
to join
yeah.
something like that. Mm-hmm.
Any chance to roast me, Dunmeyer will jump in.
Kelly would be in there.
When are we gonna do that? We gotta have a movie talks and chill roast one time.
Ooh.
We get like all the people that have joined us.
I will not be sober if we do that.
Yeah, that's not a sober day. We gotta be sober setting up.
Movie talks and chill presents.
No, I'll start the night before and just keep that going.
The not celebrity roast of one of the guys at Movie Talks and Chill.
The not so drunken master.
Problem is, a few of the people we know aren't that clever, so they're just gonna get up to the mic and be like,
Oh,
"Fuck
I'll
you."
write some stuff.
Oh, okay.
I'll help them out. Let's talk about Patrick and math. Right, he was so bad at math, he thought a decathlon had 5 events.
It doesn't.
Hercules.
That is awesome.
I think we broke Gavin.
How many arms does Octopus have?
How many drinks you had?
I don't know how many drinks you had.
Both of you Tonys. Like, when did you get a twin? Why are you dressing alike? It's really hard to tell you apart.
Oh, I'll definitely write some stuff for some
I just
people.
started wearing contacts.
Oh, man, we ran through this pretty quick.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of time left, though, so I know we kind of mentioned... Actually, I don't think we had a full end recap at the film festival because we were so busy and slammed that we didn't get to do like a kind of...
And to be fair, that Sunday at 1 o'clock, we were running for the door.
We were dead.
Well,
Yeah.
we
were corpses.
We had a lot of phenomenal things going. A lot of phenomenal interviews, and it was like some were surprised people waiting for us, so we had to kind of jump back in.
I missed 2 interviews. I'm sorry I missed those. Just allergies were beating me, but outside, it was still a great experience.
Oh yeah,
fighting through that all day was still better than not being there.
No, that's fine. No, but I'm just saying we didn't get a chance to because we kind of talked about during the thing, hey, this is great. Just let's bring it up real fast. What was your one of your favorite? I mean, they were all phenomenal. So please, if you're listening, it's not saying anything's better than the other. But what was a highlight?
I liked to sit down with Micah Jazzy. He was pretty funny. Like that was. That didn't even feel like our show at that point. It felt like
it wasn't. Caddis was running. Yeah. I just kind of sat back and he said,
I did the edit for that interview, and Caddy did all of it.
Yeah. It was really Caddy doing that one, and that was fine.
He's like, I'm sorry, man. I'm taking. I'm like, no,
we just laid it back.
You know what you got to do, man.
You do you, buddy. That and Rachel Paulson and Julie. I don't remember her last name.
Starts with an L, I believe.
But their movie Fire Fucking Fire, their short film. Just the two of them. They're talking. Well, we can't talk about the vagina story, but we're gonna talk about the vagina story.
I'll just tell it.
It's like it was like 8 minutes of like we're not gonna say we can't talk about the story. We can't talk about the story. Well, now you got to talk about it.
And remember, just like we said before, you heard it here first.
Yeah, exactly.
MovieTalksToChill.com.
Bad Monkey Productions.
Yeah. Michael was
Pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna promote them, say it right.
Right.
You
Sorry,
think I would
Michael.
know I sat right next to Michael as he was screaming into the microphone all the time.
He just kept.
Love you, Mike.
Bad Monkey Pictures.
What about you? What was one of your highlights?
Well, talking with Steve and Caddy and all of them, that entire crew that shows up every year.
The Darwin crew.
The Darwin crew. That's always they at this point they come seeking us out. It's like, yeah, let's get on this, and it's always just a riot when they get in front of mics.
And they also brought some people up there to us this year.
Yep.
That was the other interview that I wasn't there for. It was the two ladies. They were kind of a little buzzed up because they were doing shots of whiskey. One of them was like a producer or a casting agent.
That was three ladies.
So that was three, and you know who brought them up to us?
Who?
Rachel Paulson.
Yeah.
And Julie.
Okay.
Rachel and Julie. Yep.
They were actually running the desk when I got there.
Oh.
Like I think it was Julie was sitting in front of the computer.
Yeah, we thought the show was already recording.
Yeah, they're all just like talking to stuff.
I was like, Tony, it's beautiful. The show's running itself. They're coming up here and doing their own interview.
But I remember I was helping with the edit to that one too, and they're like, "That's the whiskey talking." All three of them. I was like, "Oh, all right." So these
they
ladies
were
are
definitely
fun.
not feeling any pain.
Yeah.
No. They were quite relaxed.
Yes, but I did want to give a shout out to Lola, and she did the movie with Tiffany. Yes, yeah. We met so many people.
I know. Yeah. So they did the movie Two Lives in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. It sounds like an amazing movie. Unfortunately, we weren't able to step away and see any of the movies that we wanted to this time around. But that was a really great interview, and I like how Doug, just before we went on the air, gave me a little piece of extra information for Lola.
Yep.
And when I was like, I think you may be the most famous person that's ever been on this podcast, and she immediately knew what I was talking about and just leaned back and laughed her ass off for about 2 straight minutes. Mm-hmm. I thought that was amazing. I love that.
Nice. I'd say for me, one of the top ones, only because, well, we already know how I feel about it, but Dixie Hollis team coming back. Coming back because I believe they reached out on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they sent me a message that morning because they obviously they had a couple of high school students with them, and they were in the high school shorts block. But most of them are at Ringlings in Sarasota, so a lot of them were in the college block too. Yep. One of the kids we were talking to got accepted to Ringlings, and he starts this September. Yeah. But he works at that AMC, so the moment he got done with our interview, you saw him behind the ticket counter working for the rest of the day.
Now, that was a great team. And then, just hearing where they're going to go to, what they're going to be doing, and just talking, I mean, it's like talking to, like, 30 or 40-year-olds. I mean, they basically have their, like, those kids have it together, and then...
I was going to say, Alex, maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, no, they got a lot better. No, they're going places, and they were awesome. And the one kid, Alex, I believe he came on afterwards.
Yeah, because he was in the college block.
Yeah, so when he stepped up, that was a funny thing. He's like, "Oh, you got a camera now?" And he's like, just puts his hand out to shake it. And I was like, "Yeah, we're upgraded, man." So just because I just loved talking to him last year, and then also this year, and just getting to see some of them that had moved on up to college out of high school and then coming back and recapping, but seeking us out. Even the teacher, was down there. I was walking upstairs and he's like, "Hey, the movie podcast guy." He's not even reading the shirt really. He's just like, "Hey, we did interviewed with you last year," and he's like, "Can we do it again?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." But then you had told me that Alex reached out to you, or one of them reached out on Instagram.
To our Movie Talks and Chill.
And the shirts were a big hit, by the way. Still $25.
Yep. You can get it while the getting's good. Movie Talks and Chill, the podcast guys.
Yeah, plus shipping.
We have to 20. We'll get it to you.
Half price. You're mad. Act now, and you get the Movie Talks and Chill mug and balloons for the kids. No, that's not coming out yet. That's from Ghostbusters 2. Just reference there. But I will say the other one that I really enjoyed because obviously going back and editing all that stuff with video and audio. It's not just listening to it, but then watching it. So I had to watch the stuff multiple times, all the episodes, but just the Michael Robert Kessler, Melvin, Steve Stein, just those three and us. If you go back and really watch or listen to it, it's like just a nonstop like comedy hour basically.
I love having Michael on the episodes.
But
mainly because we don't have to do that much talking.
Yeah, and it's great because they brought up. Obviously their films. They brought up their production companies.
Yes.
They brought all that stuff up. What they were talking about, the movies they were making, the production companies. But then we ran the gambit of, talking about Superman, and then went to Captain Planet, and we talked about Geo Metros with convertibles and the cylinders on it.
That one was eclectic.
Yeah, I think it was like a 35-minute. I think we had for about 35 minutes or something, if I remember correctly. But just that 35 minutes, we created or completed about 27 hour-long conversations. It's like having a zip file. We just compressed the hell out of it in the way we talk.
Shrank it down to our format.
But so that was really good. So I enjoyed them because again, and everybody in that group, everybody in all the groups is really witty. But those guys together, they got wit on them like crazy.
Oh,
so it's just like there is no pause or moment if you listen to that episode where it just stops. It's just bam, bam, bam. It's like it's almost as if you had a comedy trope up on stage, and it's just like punchline, and you don't have time to stop. They're
in improv.
You can't even laugh at the joke yet because there's another one coming.
Yeah, and then there's callbacks.
They told us that joke to tell us another one.
Right.
But so we are about out of time. But I just wanted to bring that up because we never really got a chance to do the final recap, and we'll talk about it again when if Doug is able to join us. He said he's pretty sure he is. He's just got to see work schedule wise. But
Doug, your new T-shirt depends on it.
The one that we already gave him.
Well, I was supposed to do another one like where it has the podcast guy over his. I got to write other in red, but I got to make it like blood because he earned it.
I bled for this thing.
No, that's not his blood. He murdered someone.
Yeah. I wonder who it was.
Oh, God.
Oh, but we are almost out of time. But also, real quick, just want to bring
up... what's this new scar on my back?
Yes, it's slowly happening. He went into the future. It's fast, and it's happening to you now.
It's Looper.
Yes.
Oh, God.
But we are about to head out. But we also wanted to say, too, just a quick shout-out to the Straz Theater and their performance of Clue.
Yes.
Off Broadway. We went and watched it yesterday. I know this is going to be Wednesday by the time you guys hear it. We saw it on Saturday, the previous one, June 1st. It was only here for a couple of days, so it wouldn't matter if we brought it up now anyway. But just went and saw the off-Broadway version of Clue based off of the movie, which is based off of the game. For those of you who don't know the game. But they just did. It was a phenomenal performance we got to watch, and it was really
based
good.
Off of true stories. But anyway,
yes, loosely based.
Loosely.
But if it's ever in your area,
go see it.
Check it out because that's really good.
Yeah, it's a faithful retelling of the movie with their own like little creative niches into it. They do a lot of like throwaway jokes to the board game and to the movie itself. They recreate one of Tony's favorite lines from a movie. I'm going to go home and have sex with my wife.
Sleep with my wife. He doesn't even say it right. Anyway, so big shout out. Welcome back to a normal episode of Movie Talks and Chill.
I'm going to go home and have sex with my wife. Harry, you're going to go home and throw up. Yeah, that'll be fun too.
But I just wanted to give a quick shout out to that great production because even though it's not a movie, but a production is a production. I don't care what you say. So shout out to them. Thank you again, guys, for joining us. Again, we'll see if Doug comes back. If Doug's able to join us, he'll give you more recaps of follow-up for Sunscreen. Ben gave us a lot of information of what's going to happen and some things that are coming up. We'll be able to get you more updates on the other event coming up with Roger Deakins. Apologize I didn't get those dates for you, but we were talking about the movie, but we'll post them up later, mention it. But anyway, that's it for Movie Talks and Chill. Until next week for Movie Talks and Chill, we're your hosts. I'm Tony Serrato.
I'm Gavin Butts.
I'm Patrick Wall.
All right, guys, take care.